Hello everyone, Ace here, and today let's talk about the Lord of the Rings Gollum official gameplay reveal trailer, which dropped on July the 7th, and hasn't exactly been doing so well, having been getting ratioed on YouTube. But of course, this inevitably leads to the question of why it is getting ratioed. So here are my thoughts on why people are upset. And I think it best to first get the massive elephant out of the room and talk about the graphics. Now typically I am not a huge fan of focusing on graphics myself, because a great game they do not make. However, it is the most ready complaint that people are making towards this game, and it's not exactly difficult to see why. Though I do want to speculate on what exactly has gone wrong here. Frankly, I believe the biggest problem with the graphics for this game is the lighting. Everything is simply too bright, which makes it much easier to see any issues with textures, as well as of course make everything look uglier by giving everything a bright sheen that you would expect from games from the late 2000s. And this is causing the game to look much worse than it probably should. This is also, however, something that can affect gameplay to some degrees, because Gollum is supposed to be a stealth game. And so not only can it be somewhat immersion breaking to see Gollum successfully hide from guards in what appears to be a well-lit cave, but it may also make it somewhat difficult to discern immediately which barely visible shadow is enough to successfully hide in, and which shadows aren't going to provide you adequate concealment. So honestly, in my opinion, the biggest problem with the graphics, like I said, is the lighting. And it is one of the few areas where graphics are actually important to a stealth game. So not only will fixing the lighting significantly improve how the game looks, it'll probably even make it play better as well. Of course, it's not the only issue with graphics here, which brings me to Gollum himself, and why he looks the way he does in the trailer. Now this isn't exactly new news, as there's a Eurogamer article from 2020 which covered this, but simply put, the developers decided to make changes to the character design of Gollum to make him appear more relatable, giving him bigger eyes and more hair. And personally, I think this was not exactly a good call, because first of all, Lord of the Rings fans are very picky about how everything looks, specifically because of how famously detailed J.R.R. Tolkien could be with his writing. The second reason I believe this is a bad idea, however, is that focusing on making Gollum relatable is just not something that should be prioritized. Consider the example of one of the most famous characters of all when it comes to stealth games, Agent 47. Who as a character is about as far from relatable as you can get, being best described as extremely cold and efficient, almost machine-like in many ways. And yet, Agent 47 is an incredibly fun character to play, not despite his character personality, but in some ways actively because of it. So going back to Gollum, I personally believe that the developers should have just taken Gollum creepy as he is and just run with it, rather than try to change the character design to make him more relatable. All that said, I believe now is a good time to talk about another issue aside from graphics that is plaguing this trailer. Something that you have not noticed because I have had the trailer muted in the background. That being the music that they chose for the trailer. Now when it comes to stealth games, the sort of music that you would want in a trailer to advertise said game should probably be more in the lines of dark, gloomy, and perhaps a little bit more slow-paced. A good example of what I'm talking about being this trailer for Splinter Cell Chaos Theory, which ended up being repurposed as the game's intro as well. Note, I'm only going to show you a small portion of it to keep this video from being too long, but it is fairly representative of the tone of the trailer itself and of what I am talking about here. So like I said, the music chosen for that particular trailer and intro could accurately be described as dark, gloomy, and slow-paced. By contrast, the music used in the trailer for Gollum could be described as bright, heroic, and upbeat, which would be more suited to an action game than a stealth game, and does not mesh at all with the gameplay. So as you can see, the music just does not complement what is being shown on screen. And I know it sounds like a nitpick, but I can't stress how much of a turnoff this can be to people watching this trailer simply because of how out of sync the gameplay and the music accompanying the gameplay are. Longtime viewers know that when I make trailers for Battlefield 1918, a lot of emphasis tends to be placed upon the music used, because I personally believe that the soundtrack is extremely important to setting the tone of the trailer, and it is also extremely important that it sync well with the gameplay presented. And simply put, the trailer for Gollum did not accomplish either. In fact, I would even go so far as to say that the version of the trailer that you are watching right now in the background is probably more easier to watch than the official version with the music included. I could also, of course, talk about how the voice actor used for Gollum does not exactly do the best Gollum impersonation, but honestly, I believe that the state of the lighting and the music used for the trailer are the two bigger issues. Hopefully the developers decide to watch videos such as this one and take the feedback to heart and consider making the changes that I have suggested here when it comes time to release their next gameplay trailer. Because despite all the flack I've been giving the developers here, I will actually give the developers credit where credit is due and say that a stealth game based around the character of Gollum could in fact work if well executed. And I believe there should be enough time to make changes that could significantly improve how the game looks. I'm not exactly going to hold my breath on whether or not this game will be good, but I personally am willing to give the developers a chance. Of course, to my fans, I would suggest waiting until I actually cover it in an Ace Impressions, which I plan on doing once the game comes out. So we'll see how things turn out then. But in any case, this has been Ace. Hope to see you guys again soon. Take care. Ace out.